It's your girl Jams, of course. Voices that heal. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is a different broadcast than I normally do. Normally, I have a guest with me, and we've got a structured conversation and, a whole laundry list of things that we're going to go over. But this conversation is just going to be me, and it's heavy. So I thought that if I'm going through it, somebody else in the lung cancer community is probably going through it too. And so today I'm going to talk about dealing with loss in the lung cancer community and what that looks like. And how, some of us as patients feel about it when it happens. So we lost 2 survivors this month, January 2026. January 26 came kicking the door in, if you will. We lost Hilroy Samuels earlier this year, around January 6th time. And we lost Danielle Williams yesterday, January 26th. So 20 days apart, we lost 2 lung cancer survivors, both of which have attended the HEAL Summit, both of which I knew. Both of whom I knew, I think is how that's supposed to be, how you're supposed to say that. Both of which lung cancer survivors. So, as lung cancer survivors, we all have this clock above our heads. As human beings, we all have a clock above our heads. None of us know when that clock is going to stop. None of us know when it's going to speed up. None of us know when it's our time. But when you have a cancer diagnosis, any kind of cancer diagnosis, we're speaking specifically about lung cancer here. When you have a lung cancer diagnosis, you hear the clock. You can hear the ticking above your head. You get to be blissfully ignorant when you don't have a diagnosis of that clock above your head. And if you are a survivor like me, and I know my survivors are watching, we all try our hardest to ignore that clock, to do the things that we love to do the things that bring us joy, bring us peace, bring meaning to our lives, to continue making impact in the community as much as we can, as best we can. We try to ignore the clock. We try to, pretend it's not there. We try to tune it out, if you will, with other things to distract us. And then there are times like this where you lose 2 lung cancer survivors in a single month. And that clock starts to sound like a drum. It's no longer a tick-tock. It is a drum, and it's loud. And it reminds us all that the clock is there. I'm one of those people that's fortunate enough to ignore my diagnosis as long as I possibly can until it's staring me in the face. And I'm like, what is it? What do you need? Or like if I have a scan or I have blood work or something. Otherwise, I try to ignore it as much as possible. Call it ostriching, putting my head in the sand, call it whatever you want. It's how I survive. And I'm blessed enough that I can do that. I know a lot of people and a lot of friends in this community who wish that they could just forget for a little while that they have this. And so I don't say that and say what I just said with any inclination or any intention of privilege. I say it understanding that I am incredibly blessed, and that could change at any given time. And I'm aware of that. And that's why I feel like I'm blessed. And that's why I enjoy every moment I can when I can forget. And then you lose 2 lung cancer survivors in a month. 2 that you knew. And it just feels so heavy. So heavy. Now I'm grateful that me and the girls were able to send Danielle a care package before she passed. And she knew that she was loved by us. And we sent her away with love. I didn't get to do that for Hilroy. Hilroy was a surprise. And we don't get to do that for a lot of survivors. We so often don't send the flowers. We need to send the flowers more. But I know that Danielle knew that she was loved by us. Me and Sydney had the opportunity to go visit her when we went to Phoenix for the Lung Cancer Foundation Summit back in September. And she was in such good spirits. Oh, gosh, she was so positive. And people kept coming to see her. She was super popular. So funny. And I look at like the time we got to spend, and I'm so glad that we did that. I'm so glad that we amended travel to go spend time with her. I'm so glad we sent her a care package. I'm so glad that whenever we had an opportunity to show someone that we cared, that we did it. It doesn't make this hurt any less. And knowing that she was in hospice doesn't make this hurt any less. It doesn't make it any easier. You know, the funny thing about hospice is I almost want to say it makes it worse because the anticipation of it. But today you can't ignore the clock. Today I'm having a hard time ignoring the clock. I hear it. I can hear it. And I never like to hear the clock. I don't like to hear the clock. Sometimes you just need to like compartmentalize the loss and deal with it later so you could take some time, some quiet time to think about it and reflect. And I did that. And I said a little quiet prayer. And then I said 2 in a month is heavy. And if I feel like this, and I'm pretty good at masking my emotions, then I know there's others out there who feel the same way. And so I thought, just this once, maybe more than once if this is something that's helpful for people, that I would come on Voices That Heal, and I would be vulnerable, and I would talk about what it means to lose people in the lung cancer community as a survivor. And I know I'm not the only one that has survivor's guilt. You know, I talk about my walk with this diagnosis and how I don't want to say it's easy. Never, easy is never the word when it comes to a lung cancer walk. But I haven't had a double lung transplant. I haven't had a lobectomy. I haven't gone into kidney failure. Hell, I haven't gone through chemo and radiation. I'm scared to get a port. You know, I've had my own struggles with this journey, but it all seems to pale in comparison to some of my friends in the community. And I do feel guilt about that sometimes. I do. And I know that there's others who feel the same way I do. And we shouldn't feel guilty for surviving. We shouldn't feel guilty for the walk that we're on because it could change at any given time. I could have progression tomorrow. Knock on wood, I won't. I could have a catastrophic whatever tomorrow. Hell, we could all get hit by a car tomorrow. We don't know when that clock is going to stop ticking. But man, do I envy those of you who can't hear it. Oh, it's so loud. And when we lose people in the community, it goes from the sound of a clock to the sound of a drum. It's like a heartbeat above your head. You come face to face with your mortality and what it means to be a lung cancer survivor. But I think at the end of the day, Hilroy and Danielle, they were advocates. They were fighting. They were fighters. They would want us to keep fighting for them. They would want us to keep moving forward for them. They wouldn't want us to stop and waste time. They would want us to keep moving forward, especially Danielle. She's up there right now climbing mountains. I just know it. I just know it. She would want us to keep climbing mountains for her. And I'm not going to stay on this podcast long. I just thought I would come on here and be vulnerable because I know if I feel it, I know everybody else feels it. 2 survivors in a month is heavy. 2 survivors you personally know in a month is heavy. We're all just praying for that miracle cure to be around the corner, that it's going to show up before that clock above our head stops ticking, that we're one more treatment away from a cure, that we're one more miracle drug away from remission and NED and just, a total 180 on our health. And you just never know when that clock is going to stop, or if that new miracle drug is going to make it to you. It's going to make it your way. But we keep fighting. We keep moving forward. We keep the legacy of those we've lost alive. Not even just those in the African American community. Yes, I'm talking about two of our close community members. But anybody battling this disease, battling cancer in general, you keep fighting, because they wouldn't want their end of time to be for nothing. They put in work. They put in fight. They put in struggle. They didn't get that far just to get that far. So now it's on us. It's on the rest of us to pick up the baton and to keep moving forward. That's how we make it better for the people that come behind us. Before I end it, I was talking to some of the OGs. I always find it funny to say the OGs. There wasn't used to not be OGs in the lung cancer community. We didn't last that long. I was talking to some of the OGs, and the work that we do helps so many new survivors that come and join our group. Unfortunately, it helps so many of them find us so much sooner in their journey. A lot of us went months, years, long time before we found that community. And a lot of these folks are getting diagnosed in a month or two, a couple weeks, they find us, because we're loud, we're seen, we're putting the work in, and we're making it easier for survivors who come behind us. So Danielle and Hilroy, job well done. Job well done. We're going to pick up the baton for you, and we will keep moving forward. You didn't come this far just to come this far. We'll keep going for you, and we will keep creating pathways for new survivors until we don't need to advocate for new survivors, because there aren't any anymore, because we're all cured and we're good. So I hope this podcast was not a waste of anybody's time. I'm going to watch it back and see if it was just me rambling or if it made some semblance of sense. But today I hear my clock. I'm just wondering if anybody else hears theirs too.